Well, a couple days ago, eBay announced its latest fall-winter seller update, and I'm going to talk to you all about it, plus the one thing that most people aren't even discussing, and I love it, and we're going to talk about that on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and as I mentioned, this is all about the eBay 2022 Fall Winter Seller Update. And I'm looking at it right here. There's a number of things. It isn't a very extensive update at all. In fact, I think a lot of the things that you're going to see, it's not going to really make you change the way you work or anything like that. Want to talk about, and I'll save it till the end so you guys actually watch this video. Maybe some of you guys need a little bit of encouragement in watching the entire video. But something I found out last night that might interest a few of you, and the real thing that I love about this eBay seller update that really no one's been talking about, but I think it deserves a mention. So starting in September, which is right now, we're almost at the end of September, so September of 2022, these are the things that are going to be updated according to eBay. Now, the first thing is the new eBay International Shipping Service, which is going to overtake or take over the global shipping program as we know it. We handle international shipping complexities for you so you can focus on selling more and stressing less. Let's hope that's the case. eBay International Shipping is a new shipping service that removes the challenges and complexities associated with international shipping for U.S. sellers. eBay International Shipping keeps all of the benefits of the global shipping program that you're already familiar with, such as shipping to a U.S. hub and item not received and feedback protections. That's a good thing. Now, for me, I gravitated towards the USPS International Standard Delivery, and most of the time I'm shipping out by pirate ship. I find that it's a lot cheaper for my buyer. I find that the global shipping program works best for me when it's over like 3 pounds. And I think the USPS international shipping covers up to 4 pounds, and they give you some pretty good rates for that. But anything like over 2 pounds, and of course anything that has higher value, higher dollar value, I want those protections that eBay gives me if something goes wrong with the delivery. Whereas if you're doing it through pirate ship, of course you can get insurance, but things like feedback protection, things from dealing with the return and finagling through the return process so that the buyer gets their money back, and of course they don't have to ship the item back. Working it out that way through the global shipping program has always been kind of hit and miss. And if eBay is making these changes, like handling returns and refunds on our behalf, then that would be awesome. As far as the elimination of the international fee, that's something the buyer's looking at. It doesn't really affect sellers too much. Offering lower shipping costs to buyers will help get more international buyers on your items, whereas before, if you're offering global shipping and those high rates, it's really turning people off, and while it might be nice to have, it's turning people away from actually buying your item internationally. So for me, it's a win-win. If eBay delivers on this, then I'll probably gravitate most of my pirate ship deliveries back over to eBay's program. But of course, the way eBay has delivered a lot of these seller updates, a lot of it has to be seen before I act on it. I want to see how it's working for others, and then I'll make that decision at that time. If you're already on the global shipping program, you're going to be one of the first ones to be merged over, so your listings won't be global shipping anymore. It'll be the eBay International Shipping Service. If you ship with another international shipping service, such as eBay International Standard Delivery, you'll need to update your current listings to take advantage of eBay International Shipping benefits. Also, the seller protections. There are a number of benefits by using the eBay International Shipping, including protections through eBay Money Back Guarantee. And you can look into that, but essentially we're talking about, if your buyer receives that item, you sell it in great condition, somehow it arrives to that buyer banged up, not working, not in the same condition, they're going to cover you with that guarantee. And it's something that they sort of did for the most part with global shipping, but from time to time, it was like when I had that Surface laptop, that Microsoft Surface tablet laptop, they made me pay for the return shipping, reimburse the buyer for a shipping label, and that was like an extra $40 out of pocket over and above the fact that I had to give a refund. That was back in 2019, but it still is a pain, and I've had a lot of success with global shipping since then where I didn't have to bother with all that, but now it seems like they're going to be handling a lot of this on your behalf because, let's face it, we can't control as sellers how our package is handled overseas, let alone in the United States, but overseas when it's out of the United States authorities' hands or the U.S. Postal Service's hands. That's always been my argument, that we don't know how one country handles packages over another, and that's usually been a way I can navigate through whenever there was a problem. Now, effective in October, which is right around the corner. Now, eBay states that in October, you're going to have the ability to utilize videos in your listings, but I'm already seeing it. Most of you guys are already seeing it. A lot of channels are saying that it is worthless. A lot of pretty reputable resellers say it's not worth your time. But again, everyone sells different things, okay? So if you're selling clothing, you're selling shoes, it probably is a huge waste of time and energy and, space on your SD card or however you do it to get these videos for each item that you're listing. You'd be better off just, implementing, up to 12. Now it's going to be 24 photos, and you don't need 24 photos, by the way. But you know what I'm saying. Get more photos, get more zooms in on your item. You're better off doing something like that than messing around with video. Now, video does have a very good role to play when it comes to things that have functionality, like electronics, right? Something that functions. So you would want to show the buyer, maybe it's a parts or repair item. Maybe you want to show them that there's limited functionality with the item, and there's no better way of doing that than through a video. Someone saying, I can live without that beeping. If that's the issue with that item, it does everything else. If it just doesn't beep at a certain point, then fine, I'll accept that item. But that video will allow them to see that for themselves. And if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, video must be worth a lot more than that. And if you feel like there's certain things in your item that needs to be seen, then you should display them. But I wouldn't bother on a low ticket item. These are, you're talking at least, I wouldn't even bother if it's under 30, 40 bucks. Higher ticket items is where you want to utilize your video, because the more information you can give your buyer on a product, whether it's through a good title, a good item description, excellent photos, a video couldn't hurt, right? So maybe a lot of people are going to feel like, you know what, it's too much trouble, I don't want to be bothered with it, right? But if you do something better than the next seller, your item has more appeal than another seller's item, that's an advantage you have over most of the competition who's not even going to bother with it. Now, eBay is going to implement up to 24 photos, and I think that's huge overkill. But there's something that I think you need to not miss out on here, and that is eBay is implementing up to 24 photos, okay? And look, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. It doesn't matter how this channel feels about it or that channel feels about it. eBay is implementing 24 photos, okay? They're not doing it just because they want to. Somehow, in some boardroom somewhere in Silicon Valley, eBay has determined that your listings are going to be better if you have up to 24 photos. And I guess what I'm saying is eBay is changing the rules of their game, and you may want to consider playing it. I think that they're not just implementing this for their health. I think, and of course I say I think because I don't have the actual, nobody has the actual diagram of Cassini sitting in front of them. But when eBay makes an improvement, or in their eyes an improvement, I'm not sure this is an improvement, But when eBay implements something new, it's sort of a hint that they want you to utilize it. So the more photos you can get into your listing, the better your item will rank into search. That is my guess, 100%. But I've got a lot of experience when it comes to evaluating what eBay does here and there. And generally, when eBay does something, they put it out, they roll it out for you, they generally want you to use it. And they figure that the more photos will lend to a better buyer experience. Now, how do I get more photos out of this pair of shoes? How do I get more photos out of this shirt or this item that I'm selling? Zooms. Zoom in on a logo. Zoom in on, let's say a feature of that item. Zoom in on the bottoms of the shoe. Zoom in on the tag that shows the size and the model number. Zoom in on things that, like for instance, you have the retail box. Zoom in on the features that's written on the box. Also, as a hint, when you're doing your photos, go to Walmart.com, go to Target, go to even, well, in some cases, the larger sellers on Amazon, and see how they're doing their photos. And you'll see a lot of times there's many photos and there's a lot of zooms. Now, look, I think 24 photos is overkill, but I think a lot of you out there are only using 1 or 2 photos, and that's just not enough. It's just something to consider. I think it's like a hint from eBay. They're giving you up to 24. A lot of you guys need to start using more photos. Another update is this messaging feature. Now, many of you guys use on the app, you'll see that when you get a message from the buyer, if you've enabled it, months ago eBay gave us the option to enable it if we wanted to opt in, and it comes up like an Instagram message. And it's like real time, and it comes up as a thread and not an individual email type thing. I like that. It allows for a very fluid conversation. You're not looking, if you have to go back, you're not looking through multiple messages to find that where the buyer said this or where you said that. It's all part of one thread. And that's coming to the mobile for everyone, where that's just the way it's going to be. And you're going to also be able to do it with the PC. Now, you will be able to opt out through 2023 from what I understand. And it's a lot like the lister. You know how they unleashed the new listing tool on us, what was it, late last year, early this year, and gave us the option to toggle back and forth between the old one and the new one. And it's now becoming where you can't even, like I said in a couple weeks ago, you're not going to be able to toggle back to the old one. And I'm finding that 9 times out of 10, it's not allowing me to toggle back to the old one. And pretty soon, I'm not going to be able to do it at all. And most of us are not going to be able to toggle back and forth with it at all. Now, speaking about the lister, here is an update that eBay hasn't mentioned that I found out about last night. If you're using the new listing tool, which most of you are probably using right now, you can only use variations for certain categories. It will not be even an option for you in certain categories. And on my other account, it's sort of where I do a lot of my tests of a lot of my collectibles, of a lot of other things that I sell that's different than what I have on my main account. I was trying to do variations on albums because there's been many listings that I've pointed to thinking, oh, that's kind of cool. I'd like to do a variation listing with multiple albums within a single genre, music genre. And the option was just gone. So, cringe, I call eBay, and eBay, of course, puts me on hold multiple times and comes back and breaks the news that with certain categories, you're not going to be able to use variations. So it kind of made me go, oh, well, but of course, the rep came back and said, but you can try, if you can find a current listing within that category that has variations, you can go in and do a sell similar on the PC, because you can't do variations on the app. On the PC, go in and click sell similar, and then see if it offers you the variation option. And guess what? That worked. That worked. I think that's the first piece of information, something I've actually learned from a rep in the Philippines when I called eBay to get some help. So if you use variations in a category it's now being taken away from, for the time being, you can go in and find a listing within that category that has variations and do a sell similar, and that feature will be opened up to you. Now, to the feature I really love that eBay has given us in this fall winter seller update that eBay failed upon in the previous 2 years is they're not screwing around with our categories like they did the last 2 fall seller winter updates. That's great news for all sellers, because now, of course, eBay can go in and mess with stuff whenever they want, but as far as being announced as part of this package of updates, it's not there. And the reason why it's a good thing is we don't have to worry, at least for the most part, to worry about eBay losing our listings like they did 2 years ago, like totally wiping out certain like categories like clothing and stuff like that, messing with the categories and changing the different item specifics within those categories to irrelevant categories and things where our buyers can't even find our items anymore. That's not happening this year. At least that's what it appears to be. So that's what I'm most excited about on this. It's always been my contention with eBay's fall winter seller updates that they always seem to wait until, September, October, right before Q4, screw a bunch of things up and make it just a lot more difficult for the average seller to navigate through Q4 with all these problems. This hopefully will be the first year that eBay hasn't done that. And thank you, eBay. Kudos to you. Reserve the summertime for all your things that you want to test out. Maybe that's what you did this year. And if you listened to that feedback and finally did it because of that feedback, then awesome to you. Thank you, eBay. And I certainly appreciate that. And I think all of us will appreciate that as we get through Q4 and don't have a lot of the problems that we had to experience over the last 2 years. So guys, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. Did I miss something? I hope I didn't, but if I did, please let me know down below. While you're at it, hit the like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, because when I make a video like this or when I just out of the blue go live, you're going to be notified. Well, the eBay fall seller update, of course, we know it happens every year. Thankfully, it's not that bad this year, but whenever they do, we have to adapt to what they want us to do. And, it's just another sign of yet how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and I will talk to you guys very soon.